So after the discussion of the metallurgy, where we going to various things, and after that the safety measures where we are stopped here. The safety and preventive measures in metallurgical process include the personal protective equipment is very important, and the key aspects of metallurgical safety is also very important. Wearing appropriate personal protective equipment (PPE), regular equipment maintenance, proper handling of hazards as materials, thorough risk assessment, implementing emergency response protocols, worker training, controlling exposure to heat and fumes, maintaining clean work area, and the adhering to safety regulations across all stages of the metallurgical process, from raw materials handling to finished product production. Each employee in precious metals refinery should have a right personal protective gear. PPE keeps safe from burn, inhalation of gases or fumes, and physical attack also. On the same note, periodical trainings helps in correct utilization and care of personal protective equipment. These factors known by everybody. But some of the shortcut methods employed by the employees of workforce, we have to see that that should not be happened. And wearing of the personal protective equipment is compulsory. Like this, mandatory, we have to do it. Key aspects of metallurgical safety here is safety goggles, heat-resistant gloves, protective cloth, fire-resistant suits, boiler suit like this, hearing loss protection, and the respiratory mask, dust and fumes, safety boots also. These are the some safety measures will be taken. Apart from this, where the process demands the other equipment, the organization has to provide on demand by the employee force or the manufacturer owners. We can say equipment manufacturers. We can say. And the safety and preventive measures materials continued here is first of all hazard identification risk assessment, equipment maintenance, material handling, fume and heat control. In continuation with the fume and heat control is supposed, so sorry, it's repeating. And the work area management and the training and education, emergency response. These are the some things to be taken care of the some safety prevention methods. First of all, hazard identification, risk assessment. Each area, what are the processes are there in the metallurgical process? You have to see the risk assessment to be taken by conducting the brainstorming of the individual, brainstorming of the group of members, thereby arriving the good risk assessment, having the existing control sufficiency, existing control sufficiency is not there, then we have to propose the new controls like this hazard identification risk assessment like HARA, AJAP should always be dynamic in the steel and iron make industries, we can say. So identify the potential hazards like hard surfaces, molten metal splashes, chemical exposure, heavy lifting, and machinery malfunctions. These are the things to be considered while carrying the ERA, ARA, and AJAP. Assessing the severity of the potential risk also, because all the potential risk identified, but which is the severity is more in that we have to identify and prioritization to be given to control the existing control sufficient or not. We have to see the and avoid and the or adopt the new control methods which is suitable to the severity of the potential risk. That's why already I told Ira and Hara and Ajap is always as a mobile, it's a dynamic, not a stationary. Implementing properties of control measures. Equipment maintenance, not even going to be compromises in these things. as per the preventive maintenance schedule, as per the breakdown maintenances, as per the shutdown practices. We have to maintain checklist of the preventive maintenance as well as the breakdown maintenance and the shutdown activities. As per the checklist, we have to see that every the equipment should be inspected carefully and maintained in a proper way, and see that the nothing will be unsafe or due to the machinery or due to the equipment, the incident or accidents or the occurrence will not be occurred. That's what the equipment maintenance perfectness we can say. Regular inspections, servicing of all machinery and equipment to prevent breakdowns and malfunctions. Definitely, where the regular inspections are there, definitely to avoid the sudden breakdowns and malfunctions, and also the expected productivity will come as per the organization goals. Proper lubrication, replacement, worn parts also. So, oil man is there, lubricant man is there in the industries. They have to see that proper lubrications and replacement of worn parts in time, and see that equipment, the shelf life is more and availability is also more, though. So therefore the productivity will not be hampered. Ensuring safety devices are functional. What are the safety devices? You are not in the post of the PPE, but safety devices with respect to the equipment, like for example, emergency control, push buttons, or the temperature controls, or pressure controls, or ladder to the equipment, or the ladder platform. All the safety devices are to be ensured in place and see that make them strong. These are the three things. Equipment maintenance will be dominated and see that the equipment will be available for the production. Material handling also very important. Handling of the ore, handling of the chemicals, handling of the additives, and handling of the gang materials after the extraction. Like this, we have to, in presence of the stores, with respect to stores, with respect to placement, and see that nearby flammable or non-flammable or the combustion materials will not be nearer to that furnace, nearer to the hot surface places and all these things. That's why material handling is also very important, and see that the material safety data sheet also will be followed while attending the material handling. Proper lifting techniques, for example, the cranes which you have, the lifting of the machines and all, you have to see that prevent back injuries like agronomics and all. Securely storing hazardous materials, because the hazardous materials, you know that there is a proper storage or the legal aspects. We have to see that as per the risk assessment, we have to store the hazardous materials, and the material compatibility study also we have to see that the while storing of the material, because which material is side by side, which material is not side by side. That is called a material compatibility study we have to taken care of during the material handling also. Using appropriate lifting equipment for heavy loads. Heavy loads are there simply some of the things instead of crane they are using the forklifts and taking care of because of availability or because of the breakdown maintenance and all this. Nothing. Please don't allow the uh, improper equipment for improper loads. As per the design loads, as per the right equipment which is to be chosen by the managers, and see that the not only safety manager held responsible, the process owners or maintenance owners are held responsible for taking care of the material handling also. Because they want the equipment is taken care by the instrument department, process department, and the maintenance department, and the instrument department, electrical department, like this. Equally, the process department only not important, but mechanical department, instrument department is also attending the maintenance. That's why they are also part of parcel of the responsibility and accountability also. You know, the accountability means the which is to be answerable, who is to be answerable. Human heat controls are where the areas already we discussed some areas in the smelting and reduction process and the concentration methods where the fumes are coming. heat control, heat will be thermal conductivity is more. At that time, they see that the ventilation system to remove the dust and fumes from the working area, local exhaust ventilation emission sources, and heat shields as well as and cooling systems manage high temperatures. And see that the employee should be very comfortable and happily to work to extract the work because they are already exposure to thermal conductivity or exposure to the heat by the furnace itself or the process itself. That's why we have to see that these facilities in the environment, if we are not provided, therefore the working force will be become inconvenience and they are not cooperative with respect to the productivity what they designed or expected. The fumes and heat controls also repeated here. I'm sorry. And the sorry, area management is also very important. What are the workplace is there? Surroundings your furnace, surroundings your blast furnace, surroundings your transportation area, surroundings in the magnet separation area. Like this, wherever the workplace is there, the work surroundings should be taken care of because it will be addressed with the heat and high temperature hazards are there in the steel make or metallurgical processes. Maintaining clean and organized workplaces, proper housekeeping to prevent slip and trip hazards, a clear signages indicating the safety procedures and hazards. In normal metallurgy industries, always happening the fails as well as the burns. So many things will be happened because of the workplace safety is not properly. Slip and trip is very already discussed. Trip means some projections on the floor which will hit the foot of the employee. It will be shake and fallen on the objectives. That's why the clear signages, a clear workspace will be provided to the workforce at that site. Training and education is also important. Wherever the new technology is involved, or wherever the new practice is involved, or wherever the new policies are adopted by the safety department or adopted by the top management, immediately they have to see, immediately they are exposed to the training and see that they are educated in that line or not. Because suddenly we are changing the policies with respect to the new equipment, the habituation of the previous procedure, habituation of the older procedures, or the adherence to the older procedures, they are practiced so many years. Suddenly, resistance to change will be happen. That's why we need to have a employee training and education is always mobile and regular trainings and regular inspection system to be there and feedback system is also to be taken whether your training modules is sufficient to understand by them or not, that also we have to see by taking the feedback from the participants. Providing comprehensive safety training to all workers, including proper PPE usage, emergency procedures, hazard identification. These are the very thing. No doubt they are using the PPE, but emergency procedures they are followed or not, we have to see this. Any evacuation process will be implemented immediately. They have to see that the access and ingress should not be there. Access will be a place to go to the assembly point. Ingress will be, that means very corridors are the very narrow places. They cannot go also rushing to the employees. Thereby incidents will be happen. That is very, very important to see that during training, we have to see that should all will be workplace safety and but also to be followed regularly. Regular safety awareness programs to be conducted and take the feedback from the users or trainer or the trainees and see that the again repetition is there for the training. You have to repeat that also. Emergency response is very important. Every organization having the on-site emergency procedures where in that emergency response team is there and fire team is there, first aid team is there. We have to see that the all the names are displayed at the respective places along with their shifts also, so that immediately the workforce will be known by calling them immediately whenever they need also. That's why the well-defined emergency procedures, including the fire drills, that's mock drills we can say, spill response plans, where the spillages are more, where the spillages are happened, immediately spill cleaning methods also will be employed. Now the spill cleaning methods are plenty in the various plants. They are brooming with the machinery, and take always that machine is that running is the machine in the all the floors, and see that all brooming will be taken care of the floors. Now the simply employee will not be taking the broomsticks and taking the floor cleaning and not necessary. The machine is also completed, coming newly by brooming the floors itself. And first aid protocols also, we have to see that the first aid trainees will be available, and see that their names also to be displayed. Emergency team members also to be displayed also is important. Designated emergency responders and readily accessible to emergency equipment. Very important is, in one of the organizations I have seen, the emergency response team in the members, suppose emergency response team members are there, they will provide some uh, the immediately attracted the which sticker in the helmets itself. Though color is same for yellow for workers, white for staff, green for safety, and red for the fire department. But though that fellow is having the either yellow or white or green or the red one, that having the in the head, in the PP itself having a sticker which knows that the sticker itself is identified is a first aider, qualified first aider, is the emergency response team member, is a something what is called to help the employees. Like this, immediately it will be reflected that employee by seeing the some identification. There are very good management practice are employed in the steel and iron industries. For example, in the Visakhapatnam steel plant, I have seen this practice is also there to adopt the culture also. And some of the specific consideration in the metallurgical, where these are the safety measures, definitely we have to see. But some areas like the smelting process, casting process, rolling process, heat treatment process, these are things are very nominally exposed to the exposed to the accidents. We have to see that it should not be occurred suddenly in the there, because these areas are potential hazards may occur. That's why the smelting, casting, and rolling and retreatment processes where the potential hazards are there, the safety department and the employees of the workforce are to be very careful in these areas. That's why it is called a specific safety considerations in different metallurgical processes. Smelting, controlling molten metal splashes, managing high furnace temperatures, and proper handling of slag also. Slag means where the top layer of the molten smelt, it will coming as a slag. It will be continuously with the padding. It will be removed. Very dangerous position is there. The smelting process. The casting, that means the pouring of the what is called the molten metal in the molds itself. Preventing mold releases, managing hot metal pouring, and ensuring the proper cooling procedures also you have to adapt in the during the casting process also. Otherwise, the while pouring also, there are a lot of spillages are there. That's why it's very dangerous. Or see that the employee exposure nearby casting process is very carefully. See that all the PPE should be where rolling. That means where the rolling sheets all will be taken care of. Like for example, safeguarding against the pinch points. Already, excuse me. Already know that pinch point means where the two missions are running each other. That means, for example, every time I'm telling pinch point example is the sugarcane mission. Two rollers are running each other. One is anti-clock and another is clock. In between, the sugarcane is pinking. That point is called pinch point. Like that, in rolling machines also we have a pinch points is there very carefully you have to handle the during the rolling of the material as well as sheets. Controlling metal sheet movement and managing noise levels also very important because the sheet metals are the less gauge is there. For example, a 10 gauge, 8 gauge is there. It will give a lot of sound, and the GA metals will be stained. Lot of sound will be taken care of. That sound noise levels also will be managed to provide the shock absorbers also. And coming to the monitoring of the furnace temperatures, preventing overheating, and the managing potential thermal stress also. The heat treatment is there where the more thermal conductivity process is there. At that time, the monitoring the furnace temperatures automatic is there, preventing overheating and managing the potential thermal stresses during the process of the heat treatment. Where the employees nearby all these things, they are exposed to the heat. That's why they're asked to take more water in order to avoid the dehydration of the individual. These are the some exposure to the metallurgy with respect to the safety measures as well as this process manufacture and all. And second one is if you go to the metallurgy part over, then it is coming to the let's call the foundry where it is called the we can tell the shapes, the casting model or molding process are there. If you go to the foundry metallurgy, we can say foundry one of the metallurgical processes foundry is also there where the molten smelt will be poured in the molds and thereby the blocks will be prepared or the shapes will be depending upon the requirement. This is the foundry metallurgy. What is the foundry process here is it's the systematic approach to shaping molten metal into desired forms, making it to indispensable. That means necessary or required shape where the organizations or the customer wants to think. For example, rods, beams, channels, pipes, or we can say the sheets, metal sheets, all these things comes under the aspects of the industrial metal working and all. Coming to the process of foundry system areas, raw materials, metals, sand, wood, chemicals, and the binders also there, where the removal of the unwanted materials while pouring, while melting, or while the smelt process, it should not be sticky to the mold surfaces and all. That's why we have to see that these things will be used. Like for example, metals also they come in the ore and the sand we have to use, wood we have to use, not to stick by the molten melt with the casting materials, chemicals, binders also we have to use depending upon the nature of the ore. We are not going to go to the deep also, but as a glance, you know the how the foundry will be taken care of. The melting process and the molding process. Once the melting process is over, simultaneously the mold process also will be there. Once melting is there, definitely after the melting, it will be the molten smelt will be poured into the molds, and then casting will be taken care of. And then after casting, then the mold cooling and the finishing will be there. That means shake out, the shot blasting, and the grinding and deburning and thermal treatment by taking care of the from the mold, the material will be coming out. That's called the finishing is. Before the this while finishing, lot of the impurities will be coming again, or they will be recovered and sending to the raw material. Therefore, the material damage or material resource utilization will be 100%. And then packaging to the customer. The foundry, we can say what is the foundry method. These are the things tilting and folding and the molten what. This is the we can say the casting. We can say the what is called mold. with different materials. Therefore, it will be used by depending upon the shape we want. The foundry metallurgy, and see that there are the three steps are there. What is the foundry metallurgy already discussed? Sophisticated one is melting, degassing, the mold making and pouring, shakeout, degassing, degating we called as, not degassing. This is degas. This is degating. This is heat treating and surface cleaning and finishing. See, if you see this, all these comes in steps. Example, shakeout, short bursting, all these things. Here the metal melting and all molten, the mold casting, mold cooling. Like this, all this will come into these areas. Like for example, melting, degassing, very important areas. These are the, unless otherwise the following methods involved in the foundry metallurgy, the metal which you prepared as per the customer requirement is having the pores, it is having the gaps, it is having the brittle in nature, not to the up to the customer requirement, quality control will not pass. That's why we have to see that these all nine steps will be taken care of in the foundry itself. Melting, degassing, molding, mold making, pouring, shakeout, degating, heat treating, surface cleaning, and finishing. These are the nine steps are very, very important involved in the foundry metallurgical process areas. If you go to the melting, say that what is called the initiation of the foundry process begins with melting, blast furnace and all. This for the fundamental step involves subjecting raw materials, including scrap iron and the pig iron, and to high temperatures in a furnace, resulting in the formation of the molten metal. This molten metal state is crucial for the subsequent stages of the foundry process, paving the way. That means giving the way or the given the path for the transformation of iron into desired forms. Desired form means desired shape of the channel, beams, whatever may be the requirement is there. The melting is very, very important point. There, the resulting in the formation of the molten metal. Once the molten metal is there, before casting or before the mold making or before taking the shapes and all in the pouring into the cast, we have to see that degassing is very important. What is degassing here is, degassing follows a melting in the iron casting process. This critical phase entails, that means this phase takes the removal of impurities and gases from molten metal, ensuring the cast iron's quality. And also, the significance of this step lies in its role in refining the material and prerequisite for achieving the desired characteristics of the final product. Because before going to the what is called this the surface cleaning and the finishing, these is two steps depending upon your degassing method. Because any gas bubbles are there in the metal, molten metal, it will be given as the pores will be contained in the iron. If you use that iron in the construction building, definitely the collapsation will be taken care of. That's my air pores or the water bubbles or the gas bubble, not water bubbles. The gas bubbles will not be there during the casting process. While pouring, the atmospheric air entering is also there, the casting while pouring this material. While pouring this, like this, what is called while pouring, the atmospheric air is also there, surrounding by this, where in the gaps or pores will be there, the cast material will not be properly shaped because the pores or the gaps will be there. Properly, the mold will not be filled by this molten fat. That means degassing is also very important. Any gaps are there, it will be given this. See that there is no gases or bubbles will be there. That's very important. Degassing follows a melting in the iron casting process. This is critical phase entails the removal of impurities and the gases from the molten metal, ensuring the cast iron's quality. Because once the degas is not proper, the quality of the cast iron is very bad. You can say not properly managed with the preparation of your utensils or the preparation of the shapes. The significance of the importance of this step lies in its role, where I told these refining steps and the surface cleaning are very important for this step. This step influences the surface cleaning and the finishing. It's very important. Now, mold making. Third one is mold making means mold making is an integrate, that means internally component of the foundry process, where a skilled artisans, that means the craft molds that define the shape and feature of the caster and components, where the shape will be taken care of. In that, the mold will be molten smelt will be poured. This precision involved, that means this clear uh, clarity, or the we can say the cleanliness, or we can say the very important area, or the very important area to be precisely involved is mold making is important, pivotal. The mold making is not proper with the material, as well as the pour making surface is not good. While pouring or while cooling, the melt in the cast mold, it will be spoiled the shape of the iron. That's why the precision, the very clarity to be taken, like instrument calibration, how we can say, we have to see that important area involved in mold making is pivotal, very important area, as it directly influences the success of the casting foundry process. It's very important. This will this degassing influences the surface cleaning and finishing, whereas this mold making influencing the total, we can say the total casting, cast foundry process itself. These molds serve as the blueprint for the molten metal during the subsequent pouring phase. We can say that's why once the mold making is there, once the mold is material to be decided, standing will be decided, thickness to be decided, surface to be clean, and there should be a blueprint for the pouring of the metal. Then in that mold, in that shape of the mold, the pouring of the molten metal from the furnace, it will be tilted in the process. That means we can say one uh, picture is there, one I want to show that also, maybe it is not there. The steel plant will see that also will be there in the while tilting, it will be shown. The pouring is important. Already pouring is also already shown here is it is the pouring of molten metal in the cast iron. Once the degassing and the mold making scale is all mold making. This is the smelt falling on the mold. Therefore, pouring, this process is called pouring. Coming to the pouring is delicate stage in the foundry process. Delicate means very sensitive area while tilting that vessel oh, cone, tilting by machinery, by operator, see that the it should be poured on the cast model only, not on the ground. That will be very delicate stage, the foundry process, where the molten metal is carefully transferred into the prepared molds. Sorry. Unless otherwise a skilled operator is there while operating tilting this the cone. It's very important, the tilting one. Sorry, the tilting is very important, and see that the pouring metal will be fall on the center of the cast or center of the mold. Therefore, it will be spread throughout the mold.